Well, look who I have next to me. He's back. We've got Keith Fussell back in action. Happy to welcome guys to today's at the races here on Friday. Keith, you were watching a little bit over this past weekend.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
was watching closely.
you
I
were.
was I was doing all the notes for Equibase, so I was doing all the trip notes and everything, the long notes, the short notes, and had a chance to kind of ride along with everybody. So yeah, got through. It was a little under the weather. I want to appreciate all the well wishes and everybody who came by the house and dropped off all kinds of food
Oh,
and
that's
drink and
awesome.
everything like that. Yeah, had a whole slew of people come by. It was great.
It takes a village, and that just goes with the camaraderie of here racing here in Maryland, taking care of our man Keith right next to me. We're happy to have him back. Feeling woozy, came back into winning form, an $11.20 winner, giving Hammy Smith 2 winners back on Sunday.
Yeah, Hammy with 2 big wins. Performance anxiety up to the
Yep.
front, a little duel and draw off, and feeling woozy, kind of the same thing, battled outside, and the blinkers went on, right? That was the key move, I think, for
Yes.
feeling woozy. It had shown that ability when beating one of those Russell horses, right? Tailed off a little bit in 2 subsequent tries. It gets better. The blinkers went on, was focused, and really kind of rock and roll. That was a 74 buyer, Callie, for feeling woozy. Got you 1160 in return.
Hopefully she keeps that form up to pace. We're taking a look at the track right now. Of course, cooler temperatures, cold,
Yeah.
not cooler, straight up cold temperatures here for Friday and Saturday of racing. The wind is going to be a big contributing factor here today.
No doubt. And hats off to everybody who makes it go on days
Yes.
like these. These are tough days in the Mid-Atlantic to deal with. We know we've got some cancellations around us.
Right.
We're going to battle through probably some shorter post-parade, so be prepared for that.
Yes.
Get your bets in early and get tied on. Fire up the first bet account. And, yeah, so you'll have to deal with the shorter post-parades. But, man, the grooms, the train, everybody that's involved on
Everybody.
days like that, the people down the paddock, you know, they do a yeoman's job. So we're going to battle through. Look for a good handle. So you got some good pools to work into today. Take advantage of that.
Speaking of pools, the early pick 5 starts in this race. And, of course, as Keith Fustel mentioned, you can go to first.com/bet, and that website can take you right from there to get going on the app, can get going on everything. Of course, early pick 5 starts in this first race in this maiden 12-5, going 5.5 on the dirt. Keith, you and Tim Tulloch land on the number 4, Billy Kiss, who I have underneath. Of course, Jerry Robb, Xavier Perez going to the lead, coming in with the drop down.
Yeah, his sibling would tease you a little bit. He dropped down, I forget the name, Bliss, might have been Bliss this, from 25 to
Yes.
16 to 12.5, and this 5 straight races in a row at 8-5 or less got beat. Similar type of style, likes to get to the front. This horse was a vet scratch. Now jams down from the maiden special to the 12.5. They're on attack mode right here. There's nobody as fast as this guy early. He gets to the front. The Lasix goes on, comes off of a track that favored closers. I think he can carry it today. It's going to be a really short price, though, unfortunately. I've got 1 to 2 on the line. You know, early money on the firster. I mean, this looks like the legit one. If there's going to be anybody that, you know, that could jump up, the horses that have not run as fast as Billica. So maybe it's this new shooter here for Gary Cap. He attracted Barbosa, unified play, who hits with about 11% of the runners first time out.
I go ahead and take a stab at a price of 6-1 on Bubba Chrome on the rail for Kenny Cox, Charlie Marquez. I like that they're going to be able to this horse has been battling a little bit. He's proven himself at this 12-5 distance. So of course, Billy Kiss is the horse to beat and the horse to go for. Absolutely, why not? But just on the off chance that this horse just has a problem with finishing, no matter what level, that's where I just decide, hey, let's go with the price. If you want to make things interesting here on Friday, why not? Keith Fusel goes 4-1-3-6 there at the start of the early pick 5. Race number 2, of course, starts the early pick 4. Let's take a look at your ticket. Let's see what we've got going on.
A little $24 play here,
Okay.
247 to get you going 3 deep. Scratch the 1 Haunted Room. The Haunted Room was going to take some play in race 2. So we've got the Tata Classic Land, got a stat on that one, and Poet in My Heart. Price will drop down, gets an assist with this scratch. We'll talk about that. Race 3, 4 deep, 1, 2, 4, and 6. A little price play in there. The 4 Isabella off the break here for Simoff. Another one that tracks Barbosa. 2 deep in races 4 and 5. The 1 and 6 for Fortuna Italia.
Very good.
Right, and Tam Char. I like Tam Char to kind of get on that engine in the 4th. Race 5 with the 6 and the 8 Brooklyn Girl. A little spinner if you can afford. Maria from Miami, go ahead. Toss that one in. $24 for the early pick 4.
And that early pick 4 starts in this claiming 16,000, which have never won 2, going the 1 turn mile here for the girls 4 years old and up. As you mentioned, Scratch in the one haunted room. You and I both land on the number 4 Classic Lynn, where, Keith, you've got a stat on this one.
Yeah, and man, Sandbarn doing quite well. Has a really good horse factor, and right, the stakes horse
Sure.
doing just tremendous work
Yes.
with that vet. But dug this stat up. Last 3 years in the dirt, the barn's 4 for 22, 18%. It's okay. 14 of 22 on the money. That wakes you up believing a little bit more. These are claimers, second off the layoff of 61 to 180 days, but that ROI is what's big, 725, so they can strike at a price. Another one, Classic Lynn, got Barbosa, second off of a break. This is the second time off of a barn change. I think they bought this horse over Timonium. It just kind of a little bump at the break, Callie, last time out, and just kind of even through the stretch. The pace was okay. I expected a little bit more punch. Maybe today gets put into the race a little bit sooner because she's shown the ability to be close and finish at this kind of distance.
Because she's one pace. So what happens when she's going to get a little bump and a break and a hold at the beginning of the race? She's not really going to go anywhere. But as you mentioned, she still made up some decent ground despite that. You also go with the number 2 underneath Dotada on the rail, since we do have a scratch with our rail horse. New rail horse in Dotada for Hammy Smith. Of course, Angel Cruz. Last time they were all teamed up together, that was on the turf. And I just frankly think we're getting to a easier spot for this one on all accounts.
No doubt. Really dull is the favorite last time. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. We just flat out dull. Didn't fire, given some time. Has a 72 buyer to go back on, which would bury this field, right, at this distance. Is she the same Dotada? I'm not sure. She's another one that needs a little help up front. Will she get it? But the drop should help her out and enhance the punch. I think Poet My Heart, 7's a sneaky one now.
Yes.
You've got the scratch of the one, the Haunted Room, who I thought was going to go with Acosta. She's out. She's got positional speed. She brought a little bit of finish despite lugging last time. I think she's the one to catch. And if you look, bottom side, just straight family, it's sprint. AP Elvis horses like that. But, you know, you look at the mare, Jamestown Romance. She did stretch it out and win going long. Carried it out at a mile. So Poet in My Heart, jockey trainer combo's good with it, with a good ROI. Linda Albert doesn't claim a lot, so she likes something about this horse.
Right.
We'll see how far she goes in race 2. I think it's going to be a long way.
Keith Fusel goes 4-2-7-6 there at the start of the early pick 4. And let's go ahead into race number 3 in this claiming 8,000, going 7 furlongs on the dirt for the fillies and mares 4 years old and up. Keith, you land on the number 6, or excuse me, the number 2,
Okay.
Dancer's Melody. I was looking at my own picks there.
All right.
But let's take a look at your top selection, Red Queen, back on December 2nd from the quarter pole onwards.
Yeah, I think this is a better field. Golden Effect has gone on and run well in allowance races, Cal. So at 7/8, it might be the key. I've kind of liked her a little bit. It's shorter distances. She's tried the routes the last couple times. Did win at a mile. I think 7/8 even works a little bit better for her. Got this quicker pace. She shifted off the inside and just kind of kept on grinding with a good figure of 66. I think it's going to take like a lower 60 buyer to win it. She has a little speed to target because I think Unrequited Love is going to go ahead and go. Will anybody be able to press Unrequited Love? That's going to be the question. She might come back on her, but I think Lady Queen will make a move into it somewhere mid-turn. So Red Queen of old at 7/8 I think works for me.
There we go. You also go with the number 6, who I mentioned was my top selection, in Dancer's Melody, the other McGee horse that you just talked about. Carol Cedeno gets the call. This one, they've been having some success together, of course. Just keeps up that same claiming 8, claiming 5 type of level here today.
Yeah, slight little protect move here. Won a couple races off the claim. Her issues are at the gate, but she's shown the ability to kind of overcome that. She's got a grinding style. She's going to need it in here. She's not as quick as her stablemate Unrequited Love, but she'll settle up, maybe 4 or 5 out of it, leaving the 3/8 and just try to grind it home from there.
Red Queen and the 2 McGee horses underneath for Keith Fustel in race number 3. Race number 4 is a claiming 16, which have never won 3 for the 4-year-old girls, fillies, and mares. We have a theme going on here so far. 6 furlongs on the dirt this time. Scratch the number 4. Hot Looking Royal was going to take a little bit of money. And, hey, we're taking a look at the start of the Rainbow Pick 6. So I go too deep there in race number 4 with your same Fortunata Italia and Tam Char. I always think of just like a jam jar whenever I think of Tam Char for some reason. So I think of Italian food and jar. Anyway, clearly my head's somewhere else. But race number 5, I go 4 wide. I do add Maria from Miami in there. Of course, Mama's Eyes. I'm just taking a bit of a caution. Mama's Eyes is going to take plenty of play, but we're stretching out to the 7 furlongs this time. We will get there. We have a lot to talk about in that race in race number 5. Race number 6, 3 deep, 178. I go with Bahama Channel, Jimmy the Kid, and Nomo Ron. Keith, my single is in race number 7, Queen of Class. We've got a video coming up on that. That's your top selection as well. And 2 deep in race number 8 and 9 with the 4 and the 5, the 2 and the 6 for a more conservative ticket that I've got going on today and a $19.20. You'll take that, Keith.
Yeah, you're being awfully kind to your fans today. I like it. 19.20. That's a can of corn on Friday payday. I thought you'd ramp it up to about 62.80 or something like that, but no. And also going back real quick to third, don't leave out Isabella. I mentioned that in my pick four. I do have that one. So fresh off of a barn change, back figures to go and can finish at 7-8. So that's another one to throw in there. Let's get to the fourth though, Cal.
Andy Simoff with 2 for 10 lately with a new horse in that barn, and
capable.
with Isabella, so capable. Number 4 underneath there in the third, but race number 4 in this claiming 16. Keith, you go with the number 6 Tamchar. We both switch around between Tamchar and Fortunata Italia, but Tamchar for Charlie Frock gets Justin Lewis this time, keeps the weight off, but it's an easy one to keep the weight off because the only way this one needs a forward going ride to be able to get any type of result.
Yeah, maybe she's lost her speed. I'm not so sure. I'm going to give her one final shot because in the past she's shown pretty good tactical speed and bringing some finishes. I like the draw out here. Scratch of Hot Looking Royal. It's a critical scratch, 7-5 on the morning line, which is going to hurt our price of Tamchar. But her last couple trips haven't really been comfortable. I went back and looked at them. She never just kind of got set and able to bring a finish. Out here, no excuse whatsoever. Justin Lewis, just go ahead and go. And let's see how far she can take us.
Sure, and then you also go with number 1, the rail horse underneath, Fortunata Italia. Anthony Ferrier, of course, Arnaldo Boca Chica taking this one. This is why we're sending in Boca Chica, is because this one needs another front-running go ahead and go, and the last win was at Mountaineer, at that allowance at Mountaineer. So this transfers really well to the 12-5 level.
Yeah, at the end of the 3 in life, Miss Casey just keeps a 1 and 1 out. That's the other horse of Ferrier's who was claimed the other day when dropping to the nickel, but multiple winner. This one just sits the trip inside, a steady kind of progression into it. She's got a little bit of speed. I don't think she's nearly as fast as Tamchar, all things being equal, if the 6 wants to go. So she'll have to just kind of ramp it up from a couple lengths off the pace. All right, we've got some down the road a couple weeks, some ice sculptures and everything. Looks like they might do one of Tony Ferrier the way he was rolling over the weekend when I was watching, huh?
Yeah, I haven't checked.
Good.
I haven't checked.
An old block of ice and work out a Tony Ferrier out of that ice. That'd be good.
Absolutely. I can just fun situations that I'm thinking of there. But in race number 5, let's go ahead and kick ahead to race number 5 in this maiden claiming 45, going 7 furlongs for the fillies, just 3-year-old fillies, and we're going to take a look, Keith, at your top selection, the number 6. Brooklyn Girl, back on late January, 22nd of January, from the upper stretch to the wire.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of these horses wheel back 6, 7, 8 days, so shorter rest. Brooklyn Girl, sans Lasix, now making its 4th career start. I know the Beyer is not glamorous there of a 33.
But the effort's there.
On that left lead, right, the effort was there. Kilbritton's Red looked home, out on the front end, clear. And just a steady progression. She's bringing a little finish. I'd like to see her kind of mature a little bit and switch to that correct lead. But you might get a little value just based off the fig. Synergy's Electra was the favorite there. She goes back to running like a high 50, 60 kind of a Beyer. So I think she's a little bit better than what that figure shows. Scratch the 1. You've got a couple of these horses. It just looks like 7/8 might be just a touch too much. Experience helps. I think she just might get a little bit better in her 4th career start to come running and grind them down late. She offers some value here in the 5th.
Which is exactly why I have her in my exact. Keith, you go with the number 8, who I also, have underneath Little Spinner. Rudy Sanchez-Solomon, J-Ron Barbosa handled that 7 furlongs very well last time out in that first kind of, it's qualified as a sprint, but it's really just an elongated sprint. It's a setup for horses that potentially are going longer distances, and she fits the bill here today.
Run good all 3 starts. You can't take anything of that. She improved 16 points with first-time Lasix into a barn moving up that has a 317 ROI going off the claim and up in class. So that's a positive note. I like the way she just kept on going. Lavisa had everything her own way on an inside speed favoring track. She tracked outside, made a move, and kept on going well to the wire. So I do like her in here to be well positioned with Barbosa. Maria from Miami is obvious. She fits the bill here. earlier, second Lasix. Another one just Chase Ace last time. Things may not be that fast today, which will make her a serious factor late. 7,
Yeah.
I threw in here a Lasix first time on a barn that just kind of flies under the radar. They don't run a lot, but they do win. They win some off the claim. Full to Foal's Notion, a horse that ran okay early in its career, had a win or two. So there you go, 6, 8, 9, 7 in the 5th.
Of course, and I also add the number 3 in there, Mama's Eyes for Jerry Robb, but I'm questionable. She's actually, siblings-wise, she's going to be okay possibly for later on at the 7 furlong type of distance, but maybe not quite yet. So for the future, yes, but today I'm going to need to see a little bit more. So we'll find out, though, and we'll also talk about the rest of the field that we've got going on after this commercial.
All right.
Introducing the first racing tool from Pegasus to Preakness. Iconic venues.
Life is good, and Irad Ortiz Jr. has ran them off their feet in the Pegasus.
World-class racing. Millions at stake.
Run forward, win the Preakness.
New champions will be crowned. Only at first.
Before we get to race number 6, we're going to start. Tim Tollett gave us a ticket, and he gave in a late pick 4, and he goes 3 wide here, 2, 7, and 8. I do the same thing in my pick 6 ticket, and in race number 7 he goes 3 deep as well, 1 Backstreet Affair, 5 Queen of Class. We've got a video coming up. You and I have this one in the top selection. Of course, Laudra DeFici, his top selection there. He singles in race number 8 on Mitt Mazel there. This one is coming in from Rudy Sanchez, Salmon Barn, J-Ron Barbosa. Really nice effort in that allowance, going 2 turns, in that state bred allowance in those 2 turns. And in race number 9 in our nightcap, he keeps it safe. He goes 1, 2, 4, 5. We've got a video on the 2. His top selection is the 2 in that nightcap that we have here Friday racing here at Laurel Park. An $18 ticket to start off the late pick 4, which does start in a claiming 5,000, which have never won a race since August or have never won 4. Going 5.5 on the dirt for the 4-year-olds and up. Keith, you have the number 2 on top. Bet.
Brythorn?
Brythorn. There we go.
I guess we're pronouncing it right. Yeah, take the new shooter, the new face, freshened up first off the claim. Out of some okay races, the 2-back race was the one that caught my eye. 2 winners out of there, 4 second-place finishers. We've got speed. I think into this condition here today, it works well. No More Ron, I'm not completely sold. This is a horse that was in good form and dropped. He's got speed. But I just think Brythorn can take it to him early, and he doesn't mind a little battle up front. There's a barn that hasn't run a whole lot the last couple years. They're like 8 or 9%, but they're hitting the board regularly when they come in here. So Brythorn to kind of go early and sustain a battle.
Okay, fresh blood for Keith Fusel. He goes 2, 8, 7, 1, and you also go with the 8 underneath, of course, as well. No More Run. You kind of dug into No More Run a little bit. So let's talk about Jimmy the Kid a little bit, who you have underneath my top selection, Rudy Sanchez Selman, Yomar Ortiz. Nice, valiant effort at Charlestown. So we're obviously hoping that Charlestown form passes over back here to Laurel. But since we're coming back at the 5.5, are you worried about that 5.5 distance, which I can understand with your top selection being what your top selection is?
He's a horse. He's tricky. His best race, definitely. He can win this, no doubt about it. He had an excuse 3 races back where he got off awkwardly, was used early to it, and then chased and faded. He has the ability to sit and stalk. I just don't know if he's that same horse anymore, Jimmy the Kid. So he's going to get position. It's the punch the last 3/16 of a mile. I think he'll get an okay setup. We'll see. If that horse is under a pretty good ride from the 5/16 pole, we might just flatten a little bit. If he's locked and loaded, you're going to love life there turning for home. But I'm going to key around the 2 just a little bit. Right. No More Ron. He's been running well, no doubt about it. Can he keep going is the key for me. He's going to be into the race early with Lopez.
We'll find out in race number 6. Race number 7 is a claiming 16, which have never won 2. For the 4-year-old girls, of course, fillies and mares, 4 years old and up, going 6 furlongs on the dirt. And as we keep talking about it, have been talking about it in our tickets, Keith, we've got a video on the number 5, Queen of Class, back on January 7th. We're going to take a look at the start a couple times. Ooh, she's all splayed out there.
Yes. Yeah, you don't want to be splayed out of the gate. That's not a good sign. and comes off a little bit slow. And we've got another trouble comment, steadied 5/16 pole. So this was a horse off of a break. She's had three races since a little break from September to November. What they did, though, Cal, you see the blinkers have come off, and she's just kind of steadily gotten better and better and better. Watch this right here. She kind of starts her move, leaving the 3.5 to the 3/8, and she's going to get in a little bit of a jackpot.
In the
I can
green.
see, yeah, the jock wanted to keep a little bit of cover there.
Yep.
It just lost the momentum. You see the 4-horse probably gaining 2-3 lengths right there at that moment to separate from her. She's able to regroup, save some ground at the stretch, and brings a pretty good finish. Now, speak your mind, we know she really struggles that last eighth of a mile. She's quick early, slow late. So maybe it's a little bit deceiving, this run. But I like the effort. I think she's just gotten better. They figured out she doesn't want the blinkers. She'll sit, relax, and make a run off of it.
I love a lot about this, Keith.
Okay.
And, taking a look, it just that kind of refocusing, just kind of putting this filly together at that time for horses at this type of level. That was a blessing in disguise and timing, because I feel like if Humphrey would have made that move that he did back right at the tip of that turn at the 3/8, it might have been too early with this one. So when you take blinkers off of the horses, sometimes they really get reinvigorated. She had a little bit of time.
Yeah.
She was everything was going her way. She felt good, and when she feels good, she's going to give it to you. So maybe perchance if she doesn't have that trouble out of the gate, then that's a win. But I think that that little bit of steadiness might have helped her out a little bit today. But I'm going to go ahead and bank that they're going to have that same type of trip, hopefully. Fingers crossed with that for Queen of Class.
Yeah, and we'll see. And the horse to the outside, I think, will bring some flow to the race. Ladra defeat, she has some speed. We'll see. Backstreet Affair, maybe not quite as quick, but she's got positional speed. She might get the jump on a horse like Queen of Class going here for Kieran McGee and Angel Cruz. So even the 5 might hold just even a little bit better value over the 1 just for the fact of the barn. The 3 is an interesting horse for me.
Yes.
Ran really big, go from a maiden 5 at Delaware. You're thinking, okay, why in a nickel starter? But took play that day. I remember this race vividly, and ran a lights out behind Betcha by Golly. Then was off a break. Comes back, a lot of money, and just didn't like Parks at all.
Right.
This horse is really intriguing. I think she's probably an all or nothing type. It probably should have put her on top or tossed her completely, because she fooled me there with that race with that 62 by her 2 races back. But she ran clearly against the right kind that day.
6-1. We're going to see how Fashionata likes Laurel Park. Is her first time being here today, and Keith Fusel has, of course, some value underneath. We both go with the 6 ladder to Fiji. That is Tim Tulloch's top choice, and we will hear all about what he has to say about that one in the afternoon. But race number 8 is our allowance for the restricted fillies and mares 4 years old and up, 1-turn mile. Of course, it's a theme of the girls. It's the girls' day today. You go with your best bet of the day. She is Whiskey for Brittany Russell. Gets Javian Toledo. This is the second start in the Russell barn.
Yeah, something attracted them, right? They go in for 40, and she, 5.5 to mile 16th. I think we talked about it on the show that day. That's a tricky move.
Yes.
It's not easy to do, and she was just kind of flat. Leaders got out there, a fairly relaxed flow, and she just didn't bring the punch.
Right.
Now, 3rd off a break, 2nd off a claim. She's 30% with this move. Doesn't claim a lot, but, okay with this. I think she's going to get the perfect kind of trip here at the 1-turn mile today, because Blueberry Indigo is quick. I'm going to toss her last race. She just got in a lot of trouble early, couldn't really kind of get her feet under it to go. She wants to take it to you early. Mitt Mazel might have something to have to deal with Blueberry Indigo. First look at it, Mitt Mazel clears, and that's it. This 2's quick, and if she goes, and she's shown the ability to fight early in that race, she is Whiskey. So we'll see. I think the 4 just turning back to the 1-turn mile will sit the trip, the ground-saving trip around the turn, and bring a finish to get by the speeds.
You also include the number 6 Proper Storm for Tim Keith, John Avello. This one is coming second off the layoff, but the barn has been heating up a little bit.
Yes.
For the meet, the barn is sitting at 13% right now. 2, 4, 6, 6 for 16 in the money for this meet for the Keith barn, on my quick math there. But stretching out, needed the race. This one won going the mile and eighth on the turf. So, but that, and now I'm also seeing that first time on the dirt can handle the dirt okay. So
Yeah.
we're just kind of maybe putting a happy medium here for Proper Storm today.
Well, it looks like any of these horses are going to make that move forward.
Right.
She looks like the one, maybe regroup, ready to go. Again, a tough-ass 5.5 out to the mile. Maybe not as bad as the mile on 16th, mile on 8th, but showing the ability to get a route of ground on the turf. Alvello, I like him as a rider. I think he does well. And, yeah, the barn's heating up. So if things get kind of crazy up front, which I think they could, between the 2 and the 5, she warrants a look to come running. Yep.
There you go. Some value underneath for Keith in our feature race of the day. Race number 9 is our nightcap of the day in the claiming 12-5, going 8 furlongs on the dirt for the 3-year-olds, straight 3-year-olds. And we're going to take a look at the number. Let's go ahead and take a look at that video on Dart. You have this horse underneath. I have this horse on top. Going back on January, middle of January, and here we are just leaving from the 3/8.
Yeah, Dart, and they went kind of quick early. Look at the internals, 23-1, 47 and change at a mile and 16th for 16,000 boys. You know, that variant wasn't like it was a really super quick track that day. So this horse had every right to get a little bit tired. Makes the attack move, goes clear. And this is just kind of that ding-dong battle. Stardust Ziggy was well placed, with Forrest.
Yep.
Got outside,
Yeah.
made the run, gets the lead. Okay, that's it. Stardust Ziggy's going to win
And
this
he's
by
like,
about a length. Wait a minute.
He's done his job. He's so pleased with himself.
Dart battles back. This is just gut wrench. He gets the lead, and then another resurgence by Stardust Ziggy to win. So Dart ran really, really good that day. And that was first time for Karen second time. This horse is improving for this barn. Again, I think he's going to set up shop just off the pace and try to go. I'll take a flyer with El Toulouse. I think the drop is good. His position outside. I think he's quick and can handle a little bit of a battle. I think these two emerge top of the stretch and see who takes it from there.
We'll find out who does take it from there. You also have the number 4 Bonded for Linda Albert, Dennis Arujo underneath. Switching over from Yomar, we're dropping down to the 12-5. Made a good effort in that maiden breaking score at the 12-5 level, and then we get back to this 1-turn mile again for this guy.
Might be a little bit better setup. Wins at the 1-turn mile, second Lasix. Just at 2 turns, a little. He had everything in front of him last time. I thought he was a winner turning for home. He just didn't kick on, but wouldn't be a surprise. Would not be a surprise. He's improving.
And there we go. Keith Fusel goes 6-2-4-7 for his selections here in the nightcap. I go 2-3-6-4, and we're gonna just head on over into. Let's go right into it with your best bet and your value play of the day. Let's see what we come up with first. Best bet.
Okay.
She is Whiskey.
Yeah, you might get a little bit of a price. Maybe we can get 5-2. 3-1 on this one for Brittany Russell. We talked about third off the break, turning back to the 1-turn mile. I think it's going to work with some flow up in front of her. Value play, 4th race, Brooklyn Girl. There's a couple little value shots today. That's one that seems to be on the approve. Let's see if she can run a little straighter course and get on that correct lead to rally into. But that's it. That's all we got.
There we
Good
go.
to be back.
Yeah, we're going to head on over to Dave Rodman for some more possible changes and scratches that we've got going on. And Tim and I will be here later to talk you through all 9 of these races for Friday.
All right, good luck.